All right, this wraps up our day of shoeing up in Los Alamos. We have about an hour and a half drive home, and this kind of gives us some time to reflect on how the day went, shoeing wise. And right here, you're going to see coming down, this is the baseball field in Madrid that you guys seen coming up. Here's a little bit better view of that. And then we just head back and kind of go over some things. Chase and I are going to get in the shop. We go back to Craig's, and Chase and I go back to my place. We go through these little towns and just make our way back to Edgewood. And Chase and I will get a little practice in. I don't think he had much time this evening, so we try to make some real quick. But I always like to make a point of doing some two-man work when we're together, because I can always practice individual stuff when I'm by myself, but whenever we're together, it's usually some two-man stuff. All right, we made it back here to the shop, and I went into the house real quick to say hi to the wife and the baby, and Chase went ahead and got the fire going and started warming up a little bit. So I decided to get a little footage. I missed his first heat or two. I think mostly, just the first heat. Anyway, he warmed up, and then we got into some two-man action. We will be making some tool and fuller horseshoes. All right, this is the inside medial branch of his shoe. And if you notice here, right here, I'm going to zoom in here real quick, and he starts safing right there. That's kind of something that is real nice to do on concave shoes. You fold that back edge over, and you have some safing on that medial side. That horse ever comes in contact with the other limb, you kind of take that edge right there and you take it away from the shoe, and that way you won't be a sharp edge interfering with the other limb. All right, so here goes Chase. He's gonna finish this up, and then we get into some two-man stuff. Something that I've noticed with this concave over the years is when you're punching it, you don't need a lot of heat, and you almost don't want a lot of heat. Seems like the cooler you punch it, the better, because it doesn't really want to distort. And being that your section's already made, it's not really something you want to distort. You want to keep that section together. So when you punch it cool, it doesn't blow out, give you any distortion. So it keeps that section kind of tidy, and it allows those nail holes to stay nice and crisp as well. Just a little side note there. Something I like to do before I start practice is have a look at my tools, and right here you see I'm sharpening up a pritchel. This pritchel was in need of some TLC. So that's something I like to do before, is just look at all my tools and make sure everything is good to go. And it's a good opportunity to make sure that things are running good. So here, before I put this steel in the block, I like to make a round heel. I just forge both those corners in and make a round end, and then that ways when I go in the block, it allows to have a consistent section and a little bit of material at the end to build a good heel. Instead of just putting it in the block, you end up with kind of a cold shunt or a fish mouth. Alright, after the big hammer makes a pass in the block, I go through and kind of sweeten up that section and control any of that distortion or any blowout over the initial section we want to build. Right here I'm building my heel, and I put a little bit of an angle there at the end of the heel, and then I forged the bearing surface. That was something I was able to pick up on my trip to England working with Gary Darlow. Darlow talked about building those hunter heels where you forge your bearing surface and you put the angle of the heel on there. Right here, if you notice, when we go back into the block, I direct him to drag material to the heel of the anvil. The block has not been filled to that side of the anvil, so I'm asking him to drag it over. And then when we come out of the block, you'll notice I don't forge that inside where we were trying to fill. I only forge up this outside edge. I may hit that inside edge a couple of times, but it's just to straighten. I think it's important to fill that block evenly, and that's what creates consistency. You want consistency in that section from one side to the other, which also leads to consistent nail pattern. Something to notice in this heavy forging we're doing is the heat I take. This is about a welding heat, and this allows you to maximize your time. You get a lot more done when you get a good heat. And we're doing heavy forging, so you're going to want to get some good heat, get in the block good, take care of your striker. This is something I learned early on with Shane Carter. He would get a good dripping heat when he had a lot of forging to do. And it just seems like you can maximize your time forging on the anvil. Later on, when you're finishing up your horseshoe and you don't have as much forging to do, a heat like that's not necessary. But in the beginning, when there's heavy forging to do, it helps out quite a bit. Now, as you can see here, I'm taking a measurement, and that was the point of this practice, was to get a measurement dialed in. We didn't have a lot of time, so I wanted to work on getting my horseshoes the right size. I'm actually fitting to a pattern here. You won't see it in this first horseshoe, but on the second horseshoe, you'll see that I'm fitting to a pattern. So that's the point of this practice, was getting some sizes dialed in. Now, as you can see when I'm working this toe and forward section, it's a lot of easy work, light blows, damage control, bending and twisting. it's very similar to working concave and just maintaining that section and keeping everything under control. Something to notice here when we're fullering this tool and fullered is the heat. It's not real hot, and this is ideal. I want to fuller this a little slightly cooler because it keeps the section together. I'm not getting a lot of blowout. If this were real hot and we were fullering, it could blow out and distort that section a little too much. So this is good for fullering tool and fuller to keep it kind of cool and everything stays together. Alright, when I go to pull this clip, I hang over about 5/16 of an inch. And I learned this from Shane Carter. Somebody asked him at a clinic one time what's the right amount to hang over, and he gave 5/16. And I know that's not perfect every time, but that's a good target to shoot for. So that's something I do, and you can see I pull that source out, and then I come to the horn and clean up some of that blowout. All I'm doing is picking up the edge there and getting that edge stood up before I go and draw the clip out.